All right, man. Today we're gonna talk about one of the streaming giants that's in the game. We're gonna break this chart down and we're gonna look at where is the opportunity for us to make a lot of money. Listen, man, y'all know I've been focused on fundamentals for a long time. So I kind of mastered that from breaking down stocks, find great buying points, how to really buy the dip. We really got into that. But what I want to talk about today is how we get the money up out the chart, right? How we get the money from looking at what these candles doing, understanding what these candles saying to us, me and my god doggone iPad. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna lock in with y'all on Netflix stock. Listen, the stock has come down, it has cooled off, it's on a cold-blooded downtrend. And I think there's some momentum here for us. And if we can truly get into the momentum that's going on right now with Netflix, I think there's a lot of upside for us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the candle. We're gonna see exactly when you should get in. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking for to get in another options play with Netflix. I've made so much money on Netflix this year. We definitely gonna get back in. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this video out to somebody that you know that always want Netflix and chill. So we're gonna show you how to Netflix, chill, and make some money. That's what we're gonna do today, man. So make sure you like, subscribe, tell us in the chat how this video helped you, but also tell us what else you want us to put on a chart, because in the chart is where the money at. Let's go, man. All right, man. So we know that Netflix is a banger of a stock, right? So when we looking at Netflix, we know right now that the company is actually up. Let me look as I look on here and see. We can see that for the year NFLX, we see that the company is up right now year to date 36%. That's right, $324 the stock is up this year alone, y'all. So the stock is currently trading at about $1,220 a share. And all we want to do is go get our money, right? So let's go. Let's take it to the chart. All right, so first thing y'all know we do, man, before we go to any stock, we're going to look at the monthly and we're going to see where it's at, right? So if you're looking at the monthly chart with me right now, you see you pulling it up on your screen. You can see that right here, you'll see this right here. So this is a demand zone. I had that marked out a little earlier. We'll get into that once we get into the daily time frame. I had that monthly locked in. So let's just talk about what a demand zone right quick is. So a demand zone is a zone where buyers are ready to start taking control, right? A supply zone is when sellers are starting to supply the market with more shares. They're selling. So when you see a supply zone, that's you. If I have a supply zone marked out, it'll be a red box. That means once it hit this, it's a good chance you'll see the market supplying more shares. They're selling, selling, selling. This green zone you see on here right now is a demand zone, which means if it gets close to this, you know that the market's going to start doing what? Buying, 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 buying. All right, so as we can look right now, we see what we like to look at first and foremost is we looking at our chart. We see that on this day right here, these last 3 months, we see we had a strong impulse right here, good uptrend. And then we had right here, we had this outside candle, right? Now, outside candle simply means that this candle started with this one, but it closed lower. So, you know, that's cool. You know, definitely we see the bears took over. And then right here on the beginning of the month, we have some sellers taking over for the month of August. We see the sellers, we see the buyers, excuse my language. We see the buyers are now trying to gain back control. They're a quarter into this engulfing candle. They're a quarter inside into that engulfing candle. That engulfing candle took over that previous candle. So we see that. So we see right now we are still in an uptrend. Let's just look at me with all these damn things on here. Nope, 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 nope. I don't want to do that. Just give me a second, y'all. I got to take some stuff off my screen to help y'all out right quick with this iPad. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so as we look at our screen, let's just see what do we have. We see that we still have a what? Based on the monthly chart, we see we still have an uptrend, right? We like to see that, so that's still intact. All right, so let's get into our weekly chart. So, things get a little interesting here on the weekly chart, right? So we get on the weekly chart, we see we have our swing low right here, which means this is a low. let's actually use our, I feel like this gonna give us another opportunity to talk. All right, and then so we'll put here, we'll type inside the chat, we will put swing low weekly. So now we know that that's a swing low, that's a weekly swing low, right? So we see that. But now we also notice that 827, right? We notice that 827 is our weekly swing low from April. 827 week swing low. All right, so that's good. Now let's get back into our chart in the top of our chart. So right here in our chart, let's get this off our chart. What do we see is from the swing low, we still see we have a uptrend here on the weekly. We get here in this uptrend, and then we get this downward motion right here, right? So let's talk about this. And then we get this. So that's kind of interesting to look at. Let's talk about that. I think it's important that we see what's going on and we communicate. So I like to call this part candle communication. So we can truly understand what the candles are saying to one another. So we see right here, we had an all-time high. Let's write this out. Let's mark this out right here. We have an all-time high. Let's put us a horizontal ray right there. Now let's put us a horizontal ray at $1,338. $1,338.98 will go all-time high. Netflix has been on a run. Now, what did we see? Netflix did have good earnings. They had good revenue. They beat expectations. But the guidance was a little low, but it was good. And we saw that cause the sell-off. Right? So let's just mark out some key points on the sell-off that I like to look at. One of them will be right here at, I don't want to go there. I want to use this one right here at, I think, so we had this runoff. We had this right here. I'm looking at this swing low right here that took place. And then we have this all-time high right here. I'm interested in what this looked like right here at 1244. So let's mark that off. I want you to see what 1244 looks like. So what I'm doing on a weekly right now is trying to set some boundaries from a higher level. Trying to set some boundaries at a higher level. Right? So let's make this candle smoother. Let's go dotted line. No, let's go dash. Let's go dash, and then let's go red with the dash. Right? So we're gonna put that candle line at, there we go. I like that. Right? I like that. We'll put that at 1244.41. And we like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. Right? And so we want that to get right back. If we can get back on top of that, right? Let's add one more thing to our list. I'm gonna show y'all right quick. We're gonna add our moving average, simply moving average. We're gonna put that 20-day up there. The reason why I want the 20-day up there is because the 20-day tells me that the market is still in the upward bullish trend. And so we can see right now, we are in the upward bullish trend. We are above our 20-day moving average. I like that. So let's get to our daily. Now we put some things on the list right now. We got our current price. We got our swing low. We got our all-time high. We see that we are in a down. We coming up off a downtrend, but I will say this area right here probably would be where, because you have a sub, I'll mark this right here. We're going to mark this as a support. We're going to mark this as, so what happens is, because we in no man's land, right? 1,099. Let's make that a little thicker. We'll make that one orange. We'll make our line 2 times. We'll write in there. We'll write support. All right, I like that. So now, let's go to our daily. Now, this is where we get action. So now we've done this. We wrote some things down on our daily chart. And because we wrote some things down on our daily chart, it allowed us to have some action. Now, we're going to take this off. We don't need that. But what we are going to do is we're going to use our Fibonacci. We're going to go to our demand zone so we can get that. And we're going to make this our demand zone. Now, notice something. I want you to notice something that's essential. Our demand zone falls right on top of our Our demand zone falls right on top of our support that we marked out, which is good, which is going to be right here. Right? So I like that. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at that at all. I like that. Now, our demand zone is marked because demand zones come right after you have an impulse move. So as you can see right here, we'll mark this off. So this line right, this, you see this down right here, and then you see this upward move. You see a base, you see an upward move, you see a downtrend. You see a base, then you see an upward move. You see a down, you see a base, base, down, base, down, base, base, right? So that's how I read that. That's how I look at that. So now here's what happens. When we looking at this in real time, what I want you to see is this. Just how I want to help you out right here. All right. So how do we put our support? How do we put our demand zones in there? So as you can see right here, let me mark this out for y'all right quick. This area right here is the downtrend. I mean, is bears, bullish, sellers are in control. But then you have this impulsive move that leads up right here. So the first candle before the impulse move becomes a demand zone. Or from here, what you can do is I will go here from the top, right? I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna hit my fib again. That would be my supply zone because this is the move before the demand, right? This is the move before the demand. So this would be my demand zone, right? This would be my demand zone. I mean, this would be my supply zone right here, right? That would be my supply zone, meaning if it gets right here, you think some selling gonna take place, right? Right here. Okay, now let's go a little further. Now, as we look on this daily chart, here's what we understand. We understand we have a short-term pullback right here, right? We understand we had a short-term pullback right here where price nearly hit almost 1,400, right? And then we see that we found a demand zone. It didn't come all the way down, and we got some back up, which is cool. Now, here's what we understand. Several days ago, we had this strong bullish move up right here. We had this strong bullish move up right there. And then that was some real aggressive buying that took place off this candle right here, right? And followed by 2 consecutive days of selling. Now, here's what I want to say. Right here tells us there was some indecision. You had this candle, and then the last day we see that the buyers actually ran out of a little steam. Now, I'm not mad at it because we saw rejection right here. We saw it open low. We saw it open higher. We saw buyers come in. Let's open this up a little bit so we can see it. Let's get some of this off the screen so we can talk to you about it. That's what I like to be clear on. All right, so we know is with each candle, here's what we do know. We understand that because this is a green candle, we understand that it opened right here, right? We understand that it opened right there, but at some point it came all the way down right here, right? But it managed to close right here. So not a big day, but we also understand that because of this wick right here, watch this, you have a small wick at the top right there that tells us some buyers got in. We like this because it's telling us that the buyers actually rejected on this candle right here. This is the candle we're talking about. And here's what I want y'all to do while we're doing this. I want you to be looking at me on the screen, but I also want you to have your laptop. I want you to have your trade view opened up, and I want you to follow along with me. And the reason why I want you to do that is because when you follow along with me, what happens is you get to see it the same way I see it, and you get to walk through it the way I'm walking through it. So now when I circle a candle, you know the candle I'm talking about. So in the current candle that we have circled, here's what we know. We know that it opened at a certain price. It opened at about 195. It opened at about 12.15. It got up to about 12.24, and then it closed at about 12.18, about a $3 move. Not bad, right? But we also see the sellers were here, right? So we saw, so if we being honest, I'm about to show you something that's going to be real good. That's going to really help you out because you're going to see that right here, buyers stepped in on that candle, on those 4 candles. Buyers stepped in. Now, we know that there's key support somewhere around, there's going to be some key support somewhere around right here. So here's what I want to watch out for. If I'm looking at this candle, if I'm seeing what's going on right here, right, I'm seeing this take place right here, right? I'm seeing that the buyers have stepped in right here and took control, right? Giving us 3 days. So this first day they took control. Second day sellers try to fight them. Friday they took clean control. And today it was a little battle. Nothing too major. Here's what I do know. Now, what I'm looking for when I look at this is, where is the next place that I see something happening, right? So because then when we get into the daily and then we go to get into the 4 hour, I mean, we get into the 4 hour and then once we get into the 1 hour, I want to start setting some milestones so I can know what's going on. And so what I'm gonna do is look at this chart and say, okay, where do I see them stepping in at? Well, remember, we put this candle out at 1244 right here on the weekly at 1244. What did we say? We like 1244 for what? Some resistance. Came back to the daily. What do we see? I like 1244 again. I'm not gonna lie to you. Or I can even come down a little bit to say 1241 maybe. And why does that make sense? Well, here's what we want. Here's what probably we can see happen. So this 1241 tells us this was when the last time it gapped down from this candle right here. Watch the one I'm about to circle. Wait, let me put this back. And I actually like 1244. I'm going to stick with 1244. And the reason why I'm going to stick with 1244 that we had before is because of this. Right there. Right there. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good. Right? I'm going to stick with 1244 because of that. Right there. Right? So you see this candle. You see this candle. You see this candle. You see this candle. And then you see this candle. And then you see this candle. So 1244 got rejected right here. It got here and closed, but it came down and rejected. Then it closed here. Then it rejected here. This candle gapped up. Then it came back to us. So 1244 became an area where the market on Netflix really got stubborn.